So, you've probably heard about the EB-5 program. For a lot of global investors, it's seen as this major pathway to U.S. residency. But let's be real, the journey can feel pretty complicated and the stakes are definitely high. In this explainer, we're going to map out that entire journey, giving you a clear guide from the very first step to the finish line. So here's the big question, right? Can you actually get a U.S. green card just by investing money? Well, the short answer is yes, and we're about to show you exactly how that whole process works.
All right, so first things first, what is EB-5 financing, really? Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we have to understand what the program is trying to achieve in the first place.
At its heart, the EB-5 program is a U.S. government initiative. It's got two main goals, really. First, to pull in money from other countries to help the U.S. economy grow and create jobs. And second, as a thank you, it offers those investors a way to apply for permanent residency. You can really think of this as a two-way street. For you, the investor, it's a very structured, though pretty demanding path to getting a green card. And for the U.S. economy, it's a super important source of money for projects that get Americans working. It's designed to be a win-win. Okay, so we get the why. Now, let's talk about the how. Every journey has its rules, right? Well, the EB-5 path is no different. These are the rules of the road, the things you absolutely have to follow. Basically, it all boils down to 5 key things you have to get right. We're going to walk through each one of these because, honestly, nailing these is absolutely crucial for a successful journey. First up, the money. The minimum you can invest is $800,000. But that's only if your project is in what's called a targeted employment area. Think of a rural place or an area with high unemployment. If your project is anywhere else, you're looking at a cool $1,050,000. Now, this next part is huge. Where your money comes from, it's going to be put under a massive microscope. The U.S. government will scrutinize every single dollar, and you have to prove with a mountain of paperwork that it all came from a legal source. Seriously, this is where a lot of people get tripped up and face major delays. And let's be super clear about something. This is not a savings account. Your money has to be at risk. That means it's a real business investment. It could go up or it could go down. If anyone promises you a guaranteed return, that's a massive red flag, and it's totally against the rules. And this right here, this is the whole point of the program. From the U.S. government's perspective, every single investment has to create or save at least 10 full-time jobs for American workers. This is the core bargain. So how do you actually do this? You've basically got 2 options. You can do a direct investment, which means you're very hands-on, or you can invest through a regional center. Honestly, almost everyone goes with a regional center. Why? Because they handle all the project management, and they get to count not just direct jobs, but also indirect jobs created in the community. It just makes hitting that all-important 10-job number way, way easier. All right, so we know the rules of the road. Now let's pull out the map and see the actual journey, step by step. This is the process every single investor follows in order. It all happens in 5 main stages. Think of them as major milestones. You start by doing your homework and picking a good project. Then you put your money in. After that, you file your first big petition, the I-526E. If that's approved, you get a conditional green card for 2 years. And a final step is filing another form to get those conditions removed. Getting that I-526E petition approved is your first huge win. This is basically the government giving you the official green light, saying, okay, you and your project check all the boxes so far. It's a major hurdle to clear and a huge sigh of relief moment. Okay, I gotta be real with you here about the timeline. This is not a get your green card quick scheme. That first petition can take months, sometimes even years to get approved. Then you've got your 2 years of conditional residency, and then it can take another year or more to get those conditions removed. This is a long-term play for sure. But you know, no journey is ever a straight line, right? There are always potential roadblocks and challenges. So let's talk about the key risks you need to be aware of before you even start. First up, and this is a big one, is the investment risk. That at-risk thing we talked about, they mean it. Just like any other business venture, things can go wrong. The market could change, or the project might not perform well, and you could lose money. Then there's the immigration risk itself. Just because you write the check doesn't mean the green card is in the bag. If your paperwork is incomplete, if your documents are inconsistent, or if you can't properly prove where the money came from, you could be delayed or even denied. And this next one ties everything together, the project execution risk. If the business you invested in just plain fails to create those 10 jobs, you've got a big, big problem when it's time to get the conditions removed from your green card. And one last thing to keep in mind is what we call regulatory risk. Basically, the government can change the rules of the game while you're playing. They could change investment amounts or other policies, and that can throw a wrench into your plans and timelines. So, after all that, the rules, the risks, the long timeline, we finally get to the destination. Why do people do it? What's the long-term value that makes so many investors decide this incredibly complex journey is actually worth taking? And for a lot of investors, this is about so much more than just the green card itself. It's a chance to diversify their investments, to get a foothold in the U.S. market, and to open up huge new opportunities for their entire family, like access to schools for their kids, or even expanding their own businesses. So when you boiled it all down, getting through this successfully isn't about luck at all. It's about doing your homework, making sure your documentation is absolutely perfect, and going in with a very clear, realistic view of the risks and how long this whole thing is really going to take. And that brings us right back to where we started. The path is long, the rules are tough, and the risks are very real. But for the right person, with the right team advising them, the rewards at the end can be completely life-changing. So, is the journey worth the reward? Well, that's the big question every single potential EB-5 investor has to answer for themselves.